Interview. Introduction. An interview is a discussion or conversation between a potential employer and a candidate. It is a selection process designed that helps an employer understand their skills, scrutinize their personality and character traits, and check the domain knowledge. Interviews happen during the last phase of the recruitment process and help companies select a suitable candidate for a job role. During an interview, the interviewer may ask you about their salary expectation, whereas you can ask about the job responsibilities. Another purpose an interview serves is that it helps in authenticating a candidate's application. Employers use this opportunity to investigate a candidate's claim and check whether they can prove their claims. An interview is a structured conversation where one participant asks questions and the other provides answers. In common parlance, the word interview refers to a one-on-one conversation between an interviewer and an interviewee. The person who is giving the interview is known as interviewee, and the person who is taking the interview is known as interviewer. Types of interviews. Here are a few types of interviews you are likely to face during a recruitment process. Number 1. Structured interviews. A structured interview process is where an employer asks a fixed set of questions to all candidates appearing for an interview. Rather than focusing on experience-based questions, an employer prefers asking a fixed set of questions and recording the responses of every candidate. They grade these responses against a suitable scoring system and hire candidates based on this result. A structured interview is beneficial for both interviewers and candidates because it eliminates biasness from the recruitment process. Unstructured interviews. In unstructured interviews, a conversation occurs conversationally and spontaneously. The interviewer can ask questions related to a candidate's skills, experience, or qualification. Such interviews do not follow any set format and the interview can go in any direction. It is a traditional interviewing method that organizations use to hire suitable candidates. Using an unstructured interview, interviewers gauge a candidate's interview skills by comparing their performance to other candidates. Situational interviews. In a situational interview, employers present a candidate with a problem. Employers use this interview process to evaluate their approach to solving problems. Through such interviews, an employer understands what action a candidate would take in various job-related situations. When answering such questions, employers expect a candidate to give answers related to similar situations a candidate handled in the past. Behavioral interviews. Behavioral interviews are a technique which employers use to gauge and evaluate a candidate's past behavior in different situations. It helps in understanding how a candidate would perform in similar situations at work. It is easier for an employer to predict the success of a candidate on their past performances. Usually, the employer asks open-ended questions about specific situations to hire a suitable candidate. The employer then tallies a candidate's response against an anchored rating scale. Stress interviews. Employers gauge a candidate's ability to respond to stress in different workplace situations using this interview style. For some job roles like consulting, employers conduct stress interviews to spot sensitive applicants and separate high stress tolerance candidates from the rest. It is a great interview style to find sensitive applicants who may lose their calm attitude in stressful situations. In such interviews, employers create anxiety to see the reaction of a candidate. Technical interviews. A technical interview is an interview type that helps an employer understand technical and job-related aptitude. When applying for healthcare, information technology, engineering, and science, a candidate is more likely to face technical interviews. Through such interviews, an employer gauges your technical expertise and it helps in understanding where you have the skills required to complete your job-specific duties. One-to-one interviews. It is a common type of interview where only one interviewer interviews a candidate. It is a conversational type of interview where the employer drives the agenda initially and a candidate asks questions towards the end. Usually, an employer may ask general, technical, situational, and behavioral questions in a one-to-one interview. It is a great interview technique to understand a candidate's experience and domain knowledge. Video or phonic interviews. Such interviews occur on the phone or via video. An employer conducts such interviews when a candidate cannot attend a face-to-face interview. Rather than calling every candidate for an interview, employers usually conduct phone interviews to screen potential candidates. When candidates receive an unexpected call from employers, they give spontaneous answers that an employer understands the candidate's intelligence and interpersonal skills. Types of interviews formats. When preparing for an interview, researching different interview formats can help you prepare better for your upcoming interview. Here are different interview styles. Number 1. Individual. Individual interview format involve only one interviewer with one candidate. In such interviews, employers can ask situation or behavioral questions. Usually, in such questions, an interviewer may ask the following question. Job-specific question helps an interviewer understand whether a candidate is a good fit. General interview questions related to experience, background, strengths, and qualification. When going for an individual interview, focus on highlighting your relevant skills and solving problems for the company. Also, answer questions by providing examples from your previous job experiences. Group. In group interviews, a company interviews multiple applicants at the same time. The interviewer may provide a topic for the group to discuss. During their discussion, an observer rates their performance. Such an interview format helps an employer understand the differences and nuances in the skills and qualifications of candidates. It helps employers test a candidate's interpersonal and communication skills. Usually, in group interviews, interviewer can understand how candidates apply their skills, strengths, and qualification when interacting with others. Panel. In a panel interview, several interviewers assesses an individual candidates on their skills, qualification, and experience. Often, the panel comprises a hiring manager, a colleague, or a team's manager. In such a format, interviewers usually ask questions in succession. The answer a candidate provides allows a panel to see how they fit the company's values and culture. During a panel interview, focus on maintaining eye contact with everyone and share your success with them. Multiple round. When hiring for a technical role, many organizations conduct multiple interviews to evaluate candidates' skills and qualification. In multiple round interviews, the first two rounds may comprise a technical round. The last round may be with the hiring manager to discuss the candidature and salary expectations. Success in multiple round interviews involves applying communication and interpersonal skills to answer questions that highlight your skills. Informational. The informational interview format is where you interact with a professional working in a company you are preparing for. In an information interview, candidates contact professionals from different companies and schedule a time to meet them. A professional can help in understanding the work culture and environment of the company. They answer questions about different job roles and potential growth in the company. When going for an informational interview, prepare a list of questions you want to ask about the company and its culture. Computer assisted. Often, computer-assisted interviews are video interviews. Employers provide a series of questions on their screen by pressing the key on the keyboard. Through this technique results in faster hiring. It cannot assess a candidate's emotional intelligence, communication skills, or interpersonal skills. Companies prefer using these interview techniques when screening and filtering out a large base of candidates applying for a single job. What do companies look for during an interview? First, during an interview, companies look for candidates with desired skill sets who are knowledgeable in their field and a perfect culture fit with the organization. Here are a few things an employer looks for in a candidate during an interview. Number 1. Job-specific skills and knowledge. As employers review your resumes, they want to assess your skills and experience through an interview. They expect a candidate to correlate the answers to every question with experience. Honesty about areas with less knowledge. Often, employers prefer hiring candidates with sound technical knowledge, but they prefer someone honest about their skills. During an interview, ensure you are transparent about your skills and ready to focus on improvement areas. Passion and enthusiasm when discussing experience and skills. Employers prefer hiring candidates who show a genuine interest in the job role. The passion with which you answer questions showcases that you have the self-motivation to excel in any job. Thank you.